Hello and welcome back to Fence Grid, the board games rules videos. So for this video, we're going to be covering the last part of a round, the alien movement phase. During this phase, all the aliens will be moving simultaneously and get done before we move on to cycling back to a refresh phase, players taking more actions and everything else. As part of this phase, all aliens on the board, as well as those that are on an incoming wave, will be moving. So, as always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask below or ask on Board Game Geek, Reddit, wherever you can find me. More than happy to help. So, let's start out with how do you process the movement phase? Well, at the start of movement phase, you take stock of all the aliens currently on the board and which way they're facing and stuff like that. So in this case, we have a swarmer that's still working his way towards the core housing. We have a walker also working his way towards the core housing, but with a core in his way. And then finally, we have another swarmer that has already acquired a core and is trying to leave the battlefield. So let's start out. The first thing you always do is you grab the blue die. You have somebody on your team grab it. It has 4 blank sides, and it has a +1 and a +2 side. This applies to all movement that will happen during the phase, one single roll. So you roll the die, and in this case, I got a +1. So what we do is we look here, and we've got you start with the enemies closest to leaving the board. So while this one is closer to the core housing, the swarmer here with the core is closest to leaving the board. So his base movement is 7. We add the +1 to 8, and he starts moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on his 5th movement, he ends up on the entry exit, and he's gone. That's it. He's out of the game. So he has now escaped with the core, and you lost one of your 12 core points. Next up, you have the walker here. Or no, next up you have the swarmer here who is closest to the core housing. He also has a movement of 7 like before, +1 for 8. So he goes 1. If you look at this core housing, it has the arrows going this way around. If you have core housing tile number 2, they're the opposite direction, so they move counterclockwise. Just keep that in mind. So 1, 2, 3. Now he has reached the acquire and return cores here. So he grabs his 1 core that he can hold. On each of the aliens, you have written how many cores they can hold. So for example, if you have a Juggernaut, he would grab 3 when he stops here. It costs no movement to collect the cores. So he's gone 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he is now facing and running out with the core. Last, we have on the board, we have the walker. The walker has a base movement of 5, so he now has a movement of 6. So he moves 1, and after moving 1, he ends up on the space with the core. He immediately picks up the core and turns around free and then continues his movement. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now he's only 4 spaces from getting away and off the game board. The final thing we do is now we move in all of the aliens that were in for the next available wave. So in this case, we have another swarmer with 7 + 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have a walker, so 3, 4, 5, 6. Another walker who will go to the same exact spot as the last one. And finally, another swarmer who runs all the way out with the other swarmer. After that, you're done with movement. 1 roll, move all the aliens, over. Hope that helps, and if you have any more questions, feel free to ask, and I hope you're enjoying the game.